Doobie 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 doo. It's Monday morning. Hip hooray. Let's get going. It's a brand new day. It's Monday morning. Come on, let's go. Paint on a smile and start the show.
Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope you're doing well today. I had predicted a few days ago that we were going to have some power outages on the 4th, which was yesterday. And what is so weird is that there were two, and I have a feeling that neither one of them was caused by the geomagnetic storms and the CME that NOAA had been expecting, NOAA had been expecting to hit the Earth. There was a power outage in Virginia Beach in the United States. They had massive storms, summer storms, and a transformer caught fire, probably was hit by lightning, and that caused a power outage for a while. And then in Jakarta, Indonesia, tens of millions of people were without power suddenly. They had to shut down the new railway system that runs on electricity because one of the gas turbines in the main station inexplicably shut off, and they don't know what happened. It just broke or something, even though it was fairly new. And that caused all the other ones to kind of shut down, and tens of millions of people without power. But again, I don't think it has to do anything at all. So it's kind of weird I predicted that, but it wasn't my prediction at all. It was NOAA's prediction. They said, hey, be careful. But they are expecting today and tomorrow a G1 geomagnetic storm. It's basically a storm watch is in effect. So G1 is pretty mild, but be aware there might be anomalies. There might be some brownouts or, kind of glitches in the power possible. But thank God, right? We weren't hit with something major. We didn't have like a major blackout. When I heard the news from it a few days ago, I was getting kind of concerned, actually. But, I hope that Jakarta's getting their, what together and getting their power back. I think Virginia Beach is already back online with their power. But according to the NOAA alert system, they say a G1 or minor geomagnetic storm watch remains in effect for the 5th and 6th of August 2019 due to coronal hole high-speed stream, or CHSS, influences. So basically, coronal hole, that's like a hole coming in the sun in there. Like there's people living on the sun. There's a hole in the geomagnetic field of the sun, and they're expecting the geomagnetic storms are coming through that towards us, and it could affect our power as well as us and individuals. As individuals, we will be affected by this. It says basically a co-rotating interaction region, or a CIR, arrived ahead of time. And my son just walked in, but I didn't hear him in the house. And he put his hand through the door, and there was like he has a skull bottle. That was so weird. I looked up, there's a black gloved hand with a skull bottle. I was like, whoa, what is that? Come tell us what this is now that you're on the show. What is this?
This is a gift from Camila.
Aw, your
This is
girlfriend.
bottle.
This is this is so nice. What is this? Is it what's inside it?
Apple juice.
Aw, how cute is that?
The finest apple juice $3 can get you.
Oh, very nice. This is really nice. It almost looks like apple cider vinegar. But how cute. So you could shine a light through this and make it like a little piece of art.
Yes, you can.
That's so awesome. I'm glad to see you. I'm glad you're home safe.
I'm home safe. I love you, Mom.
I love you, honey. Hugs, hugs. Say hi to everybody.
Hello, metaphysical fan folk and friends alike.
Woohoo! All right. So it looks like the sun has helped to increase our total interplanetary magnetic field strength. So, woohoo! The sun is healing our magnetic field. That's good. We have had a gash or a hole in our planetary magnetic field for quite some time. So this is good news. Let's see what else it says here. The solar wind speed has increased to over 600 kilometers per second on the sun, and it's expected to continue, resulting in occasional periods of overall planetary geomagnetic responses up to G1. Again, that's very minor levels. But the warning has been extended up until about 24 hours from the time I'm recording this. So just, be aware that's possible. I don't think it's going to be anything major, just to be honest with you. So the Ascension Symptoms Scale today is 99. We're all feeling a little wonky and maybe not mentally clear. This morning, the first half of the day, pretty much everyone I know has been... I know I slept until 3 in the afternoon, and that's not at all like me. I planned on getting up around 11 or 12 to go out shopping, and I just slept. Just kept sleeping. I shut off both of my phones in case I needed to, and boy, did I need to. But mental clarity has not been terribly good. My friend wrote me and said, yeah, I just went to Dallas for the weekend. And I went, oh, cool. Yeah, Vegas has been coming up a lot. And I just went on about Las Vegas. And I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, this is like in a text message. I read the word Dallas and my mind registered Vegas. It's like totally different cities. I've been to both. I love them both. But wow. It's like, what is wrong with my mind? I mean, it's like that song has been my theme song for 1 week. Where is my mind? Where is my mind? I hope you guys are faring better on the mental levels. As far as the Schumann resonance is concerned today, all they had in Italy for disclosure.it was the evening report. They write, the resonance, see, now I can't even say the word resonance. The resonance remained at a constant level of background. From the amplitude graph, we note that there is never really a calm like yesterday. Wow, very interesting. And it has been calm, right, guys? It's been zero. It's been zeroing out all over the planet lately. I don't know what that means, but it's very strange. It says it probably has something to do with a moderate geomagnetic storm, currently underway with KPI-5. What's KPI-5? They don't explain it. Have you guys ever heard of that? If you know what that means, I'm going to look it up later, but if you know what that means, I would love an explanation. Currently underway with KPI-5. Is that what they've named the sunspot? They couldn't name it Harry or George? Is that what that is? They could have given it a normal name. They could have just called it Spot. My dog Spot. My sunspot. Spot. They could have done that. Why do they have to make it so hard on us with these crazy names of things? All right. We're going to go into now the Schumann resonance levels of basically the other 6 places, 6 places that we go through. All right, so at midnight, let me see. I'm going to just go to the highest one. I think, are they all remarkable? I don't know. It's all roughly the same. We'll just read the last one. The 4 a.m. today, or, earlier this morning. California was at 147 hertz frequency. Hofuf, Saudi Arabia, was at 89 hertz frequency. And Lithuania saw 136 frequency on the Schumann resonance scale. Alberta, Canada, the one to watch, has been the far ahead one usually, and it is no different today, 289 hertz frequency. Northland, New Zealand is at 90 hertz frequency on the Schumann resonance scale, and we have 94 hertz frequency for Hululu, South Africa. So I don't know. It's pretty interesting. My audience dropped off yesterday. What happened, guys? Were you not interested in learning about the 33? Oh my goodness. Well, we're gonna have to get rid of this. Sorry, little one. It's always fun to hear the seagulls, even if they're not real. All right. Usually I have within 24 hours 25 people, and within 3 days 50 or 60 or 70 people listening to each episode, and yet yesterday only 14 people listened. So what's wrong? Were you guys not interested in spotting a narcissist or an abuser from a mile away? The 33 red flags. I don't know. I'm just curious about it. If there was power outages and you couldn't hear, or if something else like that happened, I really want to know about it. I couldn't find any information except for Jakarta, Indonesia, and Virginia Beach yesterday. So I just want to know. I mean, if you guys aren't interested in that kind of thing, then I don't have to go through that again. But it is something that has helped a lot of people. In fact, my really good friend wrote to me and said, after listening to the show and writing all of my red flags down in her notebook, she started really thinking about it long and hard about all of her exes and who fits that bill and who doesn't. And she's been strung along for like a year by her ex, her more recent ex. And he has been talking about how it was a mistake. They should still be together. He's going to come back and live with her. And like, he literally moved her to a place she'd never lived before and then left her within 2 months. And that was it. And it's like, what? And now he wants to go back with her. Well, this whole year when he's been saying we should get back together, stringing her along, he's already been living with another woman. Boom, big red flag. So I'm proud of you. You were able to delete and block him and get him out of your life for finally. Now you can move on. And she said, I think I'm just going to cuddle with my teddy bear. And I'm like, I don't blame you. I mean, I'm thinking about getting an AI robot boyfriend. I mean, I could still have a very good intellectual stimulating conversation with them, but I could also just not be abused or manipulated. And if he gets lippy with me, I could shut him off. Anyone else out there want a sex robot for a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Plus, I mean, just like the absolute curiosity. But maybe I should wait a few years. They don't have the power to thrust. So maybe they'll invent, in the future, they'll have artificial intelligence robot boyfriends and girlfriends that can transform themselves into a car and take us somewhere. Or maybe they will have a drone capability. You know, they turn into a drone and they just lift you to wherever you need to go. I mean, that would be pretty cool, right? That'd be the ultimate boyfriend / assistant, you know. Even just having an AI robot would be super fun. Could like walk around your house and clean your whatever, you know, clean your floor, wash your dishes, turn on your favorite music, and then come back and collate your copies and do your filing if you have a home-based business. I mean, I don't know. I always loved the idea of Rosie the robot. On the Jetsons. I just loved it. So I was listening to one of my old episodes just from a few days ago because I thought I made a mistake about something, and I did. The person who started Bitcoin is Satoshi, not Yatoshi. And I can't believe it that I made that mistake. I keep getting names wrong. And it's just, I swear to God, it's a 99 Ascension Symptoms scale. Like, we're so up there, and there's so much foggy headedness going around. So if it's happening to you, be rest assured it's most likely not an aneurysm or dementia. It's probably most likely not something really horrible. It's probably going to be okay in a couple of days or in a week. So don't panic over that. All right. We are at lesson 58 today as far as A Course in Miracles is concerned. acim.org. If you want to read the whole things, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but if you're interested in studying this, these are life lessons. It's not in conjunction with any religion or anything. It's just basic common sense in regards to what actual reality is. If you are listening to this and you are blind, they actually have a part of the website where you can actually listen to it spoken out loud. So that's pretty cool, right? I love that they did that. All right. And it's all free, 100%, all the time, every time. So these are the ideas for review today. I'm just going to go over the basic sentences. I'm going to read them twice like I do, just in case the second time you hear it with a different emphasis on a different word, possibly it will have a different or deeper meaning for you. So here goes nothing. The first idea of today comes from lesson 36. My holiness envelops everything I see. My holiness envelops everything I see. And the second idea today from lesson 37, my holiness blesses the world. My holiness blesses the world. Now the third thought from lesson 38. Excuse me. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. Lesson 39. My holiness is my salvation. My holiness is my salvation. And the fifth idea for today from lesson 40. I am blessed as a son of God. I am blessed as a son of God. All right, guys. I hope you're getting something out of these lessons. I'll continue to read them until we're done. There's 365 lessons. It's 1 year to go through the whole course. It can take 2 or 3 years, though, if you take a couple days for each lesson. But there is no race. You could always go at your own pace. And it's pretty cool. I think it's something that's helped me for sure over the years. I haven't even finished the lessons, to be honest. I've gotten through about 100 of them, and now I'm going over them with you guys. So there it is. There you have it. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we're going to learn all about witches' bottles right after this quick message. If you're listening to this, you obviously like podcasts, and you probably like music too. Long walks on the beach, romantic dancing under the stars, and oh wait, we're not doing that right now. On Spotify, you can listen to all of that in one place for free, and you don't even need a premium account, which is cool. Free is always good. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcasts so you never miss an episode. download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, including your long romantic walks on the beach. Also, one thing I love about Spotify is that you can easily share what you're listening to with your friends via Spotify's integrations with the social platforms like Instagram. So that makes it really, really versatile. Just search for Metaphysical Soul Speak on the Spotify app or browse podcasts in the Your Library tab. And follow me, of course, don't forget, so that you'll never again miss an episode of Metaphysical Soul Speak. Spotify is the world's leading music streaming service, and now it can be your go-to for podcasts too. Thank you guys so much for supporting Metaphysical Soul Speak on Spotify. I forgot to mention your Monday treat. Was that Monday song about Monday morning that was featured on this season of the Derry Girls, Derry Girls. If you guys haven't seen this show and you love Irish humor, oh, it's such a treat. It's about these girls growing up during the times of trouble in Ireland, where, well, everyone's fighting with everyone in the Northern Ireland, and they have to get stopped for checks at checkpoints with armed guards everywhere, military men, and they're just trying to get through their high school years and trying to have as much fun as humanly possible and to see what they could get away with. It is a hilarious show, as you could tell from that song. They weren't like the girls that the show was about. Were watching other girls sing this song with absolute shock on their face, like, oh my God. Like, they were so embarrassed for the girls singing it, and the girls singing it were singing it with all their hearts. Like, it was just like, this is so cool. This is us. And everyone else was like, no. I'm going to say no. Anyway, I wanted to give that show a plug. It's one of my most favorite shows on Netflix. And the second season just came out. So if you've never seen it, you could binge watch it. And each episode's like 20, 30 minutes. It's very short. And there's not very many episodes to a season, but it's an amazing show. And the thick Irish accents is just one of those things that, well, you gotta love it. I mean, for me, I like British humor. I like Irish humor. It's just, there's nothing in the world like it. And so I wanted to share that song with you. All right, now on to the rest of the show. All right, we're going to talk about witches' bottles, what they are, what they do, what they're used for, how to make one, how to hide it, and how often do you have to make it, what do you say, and everything. But first, while I was actually doing a little bit of research, I've been making these for years for myself, and I taught my kids how, and we are a magicking family. We do have hereditary magic in our blood, but we did not know this because the chain got broken due to Christianity. We are not Christians, my kids and I, but even though my oldest was baptized as a Christian by a white witch, the White Witch of Virginia, and if you have not heard those stories, go back to the Grandma Marion months. I had about 9 or 10 weeks in which on Saturdays I talked about Grandma Marion, Reverend Marion Jones. And she was a witch, and she had natural talents, telepathy, psychic ability, and working with the dead. She was also a necromancer. But, I mean, basically talking to people, carrying them from this world to the next with her, in her spirit form at night. And when she died, she passed that on to me, even though she was not my relative. She was my relative 2,000 years ago. We had a mutual memory of each other before we met in this life. And so when we saw each other again, we're like, oh my gosh, it's you. Yeah, all right, I know you. But I've met a lot of people that I was practicing witchcraft with in past lives, and we've met each other in this life and remembered each other, and it's been very interesting. So my soul has the magic in it, as well as my familial lines. And when I start asking my higher guidance, I have 4 branches of my family that were hereditary witches. Now, if you want to be a witch and you have absolutely no hereditary magic in you, that's okay. It's still effective, no matter if you do or you don't. If you're attracted to magic, though, chances are you just don't know it, and you are a hereditary witch. You just don't know it. Now, can you be a Christian and be a witch? Yes, absolutely. In fact, Valerie Love has a channel on YouTube. She is a Christian witch. And she really gets into her witchy ways. She wears witches' hats, the nice, tall, pointy, conical hats. She has a red one she wore on one of her, a red witch hat with a red witch dress, and she wore this in one of her YouTube channels. She is a hoot and a riot, and she will tell you how to magic your way through life as a Christian witch if you have an interest in that. So basically, I'm going to go over how to do this, but I wanted to tell you, I did not know about this. I had never seen this article before. And some of the stuff that I've always been doing with my witches bottles was not shown or told anywhere, but it's genetic memory. So I thought this was very weird. Like in this article, it says that, well, let me read it, Sheila. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to just give you the bits and pieces. So in 2004 in Greenwich, London, somebody had unearthed a witch bottle from the 17th century, so from the 1600s. And so they say it's a rare insight into folk beliefs of the 17th century, which is funny because so much of us have the same, this is our history, and we have this in our blood, our genetics. We want to continue those old witchy ways, even if we had skipped a couple generations. It's still like strong in a lot of people, right? So it's kind of funny to me. It's like, it's not what people believed then, it's what people continue to know now when you're in the know. And even if you don't have it, the hereditary thing going, and you do this magic, it's powerful, and it works every time. So we're going to get into why you need it, if you need it, if you think you need it, if you want it, and what will happen to your life after you have it and after you've done this. So it says here, witch bottles were commonly buried to ward off spells during the 16th and 17th centuries, so from the 1500s on. And it's very rare, though, to find one still sealed. Usually when people dig them up, they'll, oh, cool bottle, open it up, dump out the contents, clean it up, and use it for something else. These people that put the magic there in the first place are long and buried and reincarnated several times over. So by the time, these old bottles are found, it doesn't really have a lot of meaning anymore. It's pretty interesting that they're still buried all over, especially all over the UK, all over Ireland and Scotland, I'm sure of it. So they wanted to examine the magical artifacts. And so they opened it scientifically, and they started with taking x-rays, and then they opened it and looked into all the clues that was in there. So it says during the 17th century, British people would often blame witches for ill health or misfortune that they suffered. So the idea with these witches' bottles back then was to throw the spell back on the witch. And they would contain urine, and what they're saying in this article, and I don't know if this is entirely true, I wasn't taught this, but the urine in the bulb of the bottle, like usually these bottles are round at the bottom, would represent the waterworks of the witch, basically their bladder. And the theory was that the nails and the bent pins inside would aggravate any witch who passed water, and it would torment her so badly that she would take the spell off of you if she has cast a spell on you. I've never heard this before I read this article, so I thought that was weird, a little interesting. The salt glazed jar was discovered 1.5 meters below ground by archaeologists from the Maritime Trust, a Greenwich-based charity that preserves historical sailing vessels. When it was shaken, the bottle splashed and rattled around, and an x-ray showed pins and nails stuck in the neck, which suggests it was buried upside down. So they used computed tomography scans. I love when science meets magic. It's hilarious. And it was half filled with liquid, and it showed to be human urine. And it contained bent nails and pins. A nail pierced the leather, and there's like a nail pierced leather shaped heart. So it wasn't an actual heart, but it's like a little like shape. So that's interesting. Fingernail clippings, navel fluff, and hair. And it says the presence of iron sulfide in the mixture also suggests that sulfur or brimstone had been added. Now, in fingernail clippings, I've never read that anywhere. I'm pretty sure I made that up. I thought I made that up. It just makes sense. And I think it's my genetic memory came through when I started making these. And when you cut your fingernail, it looks like a crescent moon, which relates to the goddess Diana, as well as relating to the moon and the moon itself. So you could bury this under a moon and call upon the moon to protect it for you as well, in magic anyway. The moon herself, Luna, we've talked to her and she doesn't give a crap either way about human affairs. So she didn't really actually help us ever, apparently, but we all thought she did. We all hoped she cared. But so it's basically to connect with the moon, as well as goddess Diana, as well as the sharp edges throws back that negative magic that is put upon you towards the person who cast whatever spell or evil eye or curse or thought that's negative. Just negative thoughts are deflected by a bottle. So we're going to get into all this in a minute, but I thought that was interesting. It's like, oh yeah, see, I knew that because it's goddess Diana and it's the moon itself. And of course you have to have your fingernails in it. It's like, I've got Irish in my blood. It's in my DNA. I knew this, and my soul knows this because I've done this for so many centuries. So interesting. So it says prior to this point, we already knew what was in the witch's bottle. Says Brian Hogard. He said that we've read documents from the 17th century, so they already knew what to expect. But and it even says there's texts with recipes on how to fill a witch's bottle, but they don't always say what goes into them. So that helps them to analyze the bottle. Sulfur is not mentioned in any recipe that he's seen, although a previously discovered bottle contained to have remains of matches. Yeah, it's interesting. I forgot what sulfur is meant for. I think it's to put a bitter or acrid taste in the mouth of the person who said the lie against you, or said magical words against you, cursed you, or said out loud negative thoughts against you. That just came out of me. I'd never thought of this ever before. I think that's my genetic memory kicking in. Yeah, I'm asking my higher guidance. That's absolutely true. That's what the sulfur was used for, to put a horrible taste in the mouth of the person who speaks ill of you. He says, if you think about where sulfur came from those days, it spewed out of volcanic fumaroles from the underworld. It would have been the ideal thing to kill your witch if you wished to. I don't think anyone wanted to kill anyone with this, but who the hell knows what people did hundreds of years ago. It says when they did analysis on the urine, it had a metabolite of nicotine called cotinine. So the person was smoking, probably maybe to ask for help from his or her ancestors. Tobacco has often been used, especially throughout the Native American tribes, to contact ancestors. tobacco is a sacred plant. So smoking, a lot of times, also you could use the smoke to purify your aura before you do the bottle. And it says but the nail clippings that they discovered were quite manicured. This suggests it's a person of some high social standing who created the bottle. So it says that this basically is confirming the documents that talked about these bottles. It's been around for hundreds of years, and it's interesting that, 15 years ago they discovered one completely intact, and they were able to analyze it scientifically. So Owen Davies is a witchcraft expert at the University of Hertfordshire in Hatfield in the UK, and he says the whole rationale for these bottles was sympathetic magic. So if you put in something intimate to the bewitched person in the bottle, and you put in bent pins and other unpleasant objects, which are going to poison and cause great pain to the witch. I don't agree with that assessment or statement. I don't think that you would have to grab stuff from the other person to put in your bottle. That's not what a witch's bottle is. Although that could possibly be what people do or did in some cases, but that's not a traditional witch's bottle. That is a bottle spell, something totally different. That may or may not be what they call it, but that's not 100%. So now when I go to this learnreligions.com / make a witch bottle 2562680, it's the name of the article. You can just look it up, Learn Religions, Make a Witch Bottle, and you'll find the page easy. If you want to read this for yourself later. Ooh, I looked at I just looked at it. It was 13 minutes and 13 seconds into this talk. Wow. Oh, that gave me a lovely feeling, actually. When the ancestors are finally listening. I'm just kidding. All right. I just had now I looked and it's 13:33. There you go. Well, there's some beautiful things for you guys. 13 is a really powerful number in my life, so it's a good thing. It's a time of transformation and change when you see that. So it says, let's see here. Typically associated with the United Kingdom, witch bottles traveled across the sea to a new world. That's very interesting. I never heard that in my life ever. I mean, I've heard of bottles, message in a bottle, but never a witch's bottle. And I don't believe that. Maybe someone wanted, although that could be when you use sympathetic magic to send somebody away, tossing their DNA in a bottle into the ocean would probably send them to another land. And I'm asking my higher guidance, I'm getting, yep. You guys allow that DNA and genetic heritage come out of you, you're going to start remembering this stuff too. You're going to start knowing just automatically where things come from and why people did what they did. All right, so basically what it says by Patty Wigington. This was updated February 5th, 2019, so this is a very new article. She says that a witch bottle is a magical tool that has been reported for and used for centuries. Yes, of course. In early times, a bottle was designed as a way to protect oneself from malicious witchcraft and sorcery. And in particular, around the time of Samhain, homeowners might create a witch bottle to keep evil spirits from entering the home on All Hallows Eve. The witch bottle was made from pottery or glass and included sharp objects such as pins and bent nails, and typically contains urine as well, and it belongs to a homeowner as a magical link to the property and the family within the home. All right, so I'm going to go through what I know to be true about this and what works, and I might also refer back to this article because she did a good job. It is very well written and researched, and clearly she's a witch and knows what she's doing, so awesome, right? Okay, so like she said, a witch's bottle can be a glass jar or a ceramic jar. You can go out and get the fanciest, sexiest jar you can find, or, you could just use in a food jar that you're done with the food, now you just use a jar. I don't recommend like a giant mayonnaise jar. I mean, you're going to have to pee many, many times to fill a mayonnaise jar. So don't, and it's just overkill. You don't need a gigantic jar. So when I say a jar from something you've eaten, maybe like a little jelly jar, a jam jar, something that had pickles in it, or curtido, the Mexican salad that's like made with jalapenos. It's so good. I love curtido. But, let's see, what else is a good jar? I just had it in my mind, like olives, like green olives, black olives, they come in a jar. Garlic, if you ever buy like crushed garlic, the little tiny ones, if you want to make a small witch's bottle, use a bottle of from baby food. That's an excellent bottle, and it doesn't take much materials or objects, and you could put, you could do that really easy. A little teeny tiny bottle. Usually, I recommend 2 or 3 times bigger, but it doesn't matter because it's magic, and there's symbols inside, and we're going to explain why some of this stuff is needed. It sounds weird if you've never done this and you've never heard of this. It sounds a little weird, especially with the urine thing, but we're going to get to that in a moment and explain to you why would you even need that or want that or ew, and how do I pee into a bottle? Right? We're going to get to it. Okay. Once you get your bottle, it can be, again, ceramic or glass, as long as it's impermeable to water. Like water can't get out because you got to fill it up. Basically, you can decide whether or not you want to decorate it. How much energy you put into it is how much energy you'll get out of it. Just like anything else, how you do anything is how you get, how you do everything. So if you put a lot of energy into it, you're going to get a lot of benefit from it. So decorate it with symbols of protection. Your witch name, if you have one, if you're a witch. If you're not, you don't have to do that. You don't have to make up a name. You could put your initials or your date of birth. You could mix up the numbers so only you and the spirits around you know what it means. So if another human finds it, they don't know what's going on. I used to put mine in Pictish scripts, a script from ancient Scotland. That was just me. I memorized the alphabet, and even then I would still jumble up what it said. So if someone knew that, highly unlikely anyone knows Pictish script. Most people performing magic know Theban alphabet, or there's a runic language alphabet. There's a lot of different alphabets out there used by witches, but Pictish script it's just really kind of obscure. I've only ever seen it in one book, and that's a book I learned it from, called Pictish Magic, which is an excellent book if ever you want a book on Scottish magic. So I bought it not knowing if I was Irish or Scottish at the time. I felt I might have a little bit of Scottish in me, and I'm definitely Irish, so I went with it. And it seemed to really work out for me, and I enjoyed, operating from that particular culture. And that's where I learned about augury too, by the way, but that's a whole nother conversation. All right. You can consecrate it or dedicate it to the god or goddess of your choice, if you have one, or just the main prime creator of the universe, or just the universe. You can say God, goddess, mother, father, God, whatever you feel comfortable with. Don't put yourself into a different culture that you're uncomfortable with, or don't, force this. So just say, higher self, help me with this. If you don't want to dedicate it or consecrate it to someone else, or put oils on the outside of the bottle to consecrate it, don't worry about it. You don't have to. You don't have to do any of that. It'll still work. And if it feels weird, you don't do it. You have to be comfortable. You could even say in the name of Jesus, if you are a Christian and you want to do some Christian folk magic, that's okay. Because this is not bad magic. It's not black magic. It is white magic. In fact, all the things I'll talk about ever on this show related to witchcraft or magic is always going to be of the light, okay? I am not a Wiccan, by the way. That's not my religion. That is a religion. I'm a folk magician. and a hereditary witch. So you can call upon Goddess Hecate, who sits at the crossroads, and she will go after anyone who's after you. So if you feel like someone's actually after you, you might want to call upon her to help if you are a magical person. If not, ask Archangel Michael to be your protector, and to also to stand next to your bottle in the event that anything is flung your way, negative energy, bad talk, back talk, lies, jealousy, deceit, anything negative that any human can send your way, curses with just like talking bad about you, or curses as far as like literally like voodoo dolls or whatever. Archangel Michael will go to your bottle anytime anything is done, and he will use his sword to deflect it back if you ask him. So that'd be like your extra level of protection if you want. So you can also work with the saints, or, God in general, or not. If you don't want any of that, you don't have to. It's just an extra level of energy you're putting into this. All right. So what do you fill it with? Okay. And you have to make sure before you deal with this bottle, you have to have a way to seal it. You have to have if it's a ceramic bottle, you have to have like a cork top or some kind of a top that fits, that will actually seal it. Then we're going to have another way to seal it in a moment. Okay. But if it's just a glass bottle, you have to have a lid. Okay. Basically, you just need a way to, cover it up and seal it later. So you fill it with, you can put salt in it if you want. Let's see. I don't normally put salt in mine, although I think I have. Salt is a natural crystal form, and it increases the purity of your magic. And let's see here. I wanted to see, what did this person in her article said sea salt. The salt is used for purification. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, so, all right. So, yeah, I don't normally put salt in mine, but you can. In fact, if you want to put holy water, you can, so that you're protected. That's an extra level of protection for you. Because remember, this is not to get back at somebody or hurt somebody. This is for your own personal protection. This is not meant to harm another person. This is only meant to help you. So you fill it with salt. You fill it with sharp, pointy objects. Okay, so razor blades, especially if they're used, and I'm going to tell you why that's important in a minute. You fill it with razor blades, broken glass. So anytime you break a glass, in our household, we have a bag that we fill with broken glass. If you break a glass, that's okay. We're going to use it. You break a wine glass, it's okay. It was meant to be. Whoever broke that wine glass, that becomes their glass for the next witch's bottle. That's at least one of the rules in my household. If we break a piece of pottery or a dish or a plate, that also goes in the bag. So broken mirrors, hopefully you don't have any broken mirrors. They do cause 13 years of bad luck, as the wives' tale says. You have to go through a lot of magic to get rid of that. But mirrors that are broken, or you could go get mosaic tiles at like Michael's Art Supply or any art supply, the square ones. You could pop a few of those in there. That will send back immediately and reflect back to the person who thinks ill of you, right? It'll show them their own face. It'll show them what they're doing. So they will become more aware of themselves and maybe stop for the future, unless they're purposely and evilly trying to harm you, okay? But you don't have to break mirrors. Don't break a mirror. But if you happen to break a mirror, just smash it a little bit more, and put it in a bag for when you do this. Basically, nails. You could get brand new nails, or get some nails and rust them out, or just find old rusty, broken down nails. Go along the railroad tracks. There's all sorts of pointy, crazy, sharp objects there. You can even get a railroad tie. Some people use that. I don't, but some people do. Nails, pins, needles. I like pins because they have that bulbous end on them. So someone, like the end point of the pin will attract the negative energy of the person, and it travels down the metal part to the bulbous end, and then shoots back out. at the person from which it came. That's the other reason why you want to bend nails, or if you find bend nails, especially if they're bent and rusty, because that will cause the person more trouble. They try to cause you trouble, it's going to send their own trouble back on them. Their own intention is sent on them. You're not putting negative energy into the bottle, okay? Just to be clear. This isn't something that you're purposely trying to harm somebody. This is something in which you make in order to reflect, deflect, send it back to the person who's sending it to you. I always add, though, 1,000-fold, right? So if someone's hoping that you trip and fall on your face, they might end up with a broken arm, and it's not your fault. Their negative energy came back on them 1,000 times. They never should have done that in the first place, right? They never should have thought negative about you, But if you don't want to, you can say 10 times or 100 times. I always say 1,000. Because I feel like if you're trying to purposely harm me, and I always say those words, if someone is purposely trying to harm me, let this reflect back on them 1,000-fold. If it's an accident, just let them have it reflected back to them so they could see what they've done or said or whatever and allow it not to harm or touch me in any way. All right. So you can fill it with needles, pins, rusty objects, bent nails, even a railroad spike if you want to, if your jar is big enough. You could go to a graveyard and get casket nails is an idea. If you just walk around a graveyard and see, rusty old, stuff laying around, just pick them up, put them in your pocket, and make your witch's bottle with it. I don't recommend just going randomly to graveyards. You could pick up a lot of spirits there. And that could be very uncomfortable for you. So don't, if you just happen to be in a graveyard because it's someone's funeral or something, is what I'm saying. Okay. So anything that is rusty and sharp, what the purpose of this is just to deflect bad luck. If it is a nail that's bent, that creates a boomerang effect. They send it to you and it boomerangs right back out at them. And you will never feel the energy of it. Okay? And this is why. Now, you fill it up with urine because that is marking your territory as if you are a cat or a wolf or an animal. You are an animal. Humans are animals. Humanimals. All right? So the urine is like a placeholder for you. Now, some people want extra levels of protection. I don't always recommend this. I don't recommend blood magic. But if you want to, and if you're a man, you just prick the end of your finger. You don't take out a big old knife or something, but just a little tiny needle. Clean it first, rubbing alcohol, with fire or whatever. Prick the end of one finger, drop, 3 drops of blood in there. It's all you need. Little drops, not a ton of blood. It doesn't have to be bloody mess. It doesn't have to look gory. Okay. If you're a woman, you could do the same thing. Or you can use menstrual blood if you still have menstrual blood. You could just pull out a tampon and throw it in there. It's so disgusting, but it does work. It's absolutely something that works. Okay. It's not always recommended, though. You can attract negative spirits if you do blood magic. So you have to use a lot of protection. Archangel Michael, your higher self, your spiritual team. Protect yourself with white light. Maybe you could put this part while you're standing inside of a circle. Negative energies and entities cannot travel along circular lines. They can only travel along angular lines. So keep that in mind. If you want to do that, you can. You don't have to. If it freaks you out, don't do it. Now, but the urine, the blood, the fingernails, toenails, all contain your DNA. It's like a clone or a placeholder of your physical body energy. Now, we know from science about twin particles. If you have 2 particles that are associated with each other and you take them apart and put them 100 miles, 1,000 miles, 100,000 miles away from each other, when one makes a change, the other one will make a change. sympathetic magic. You can laugh all you want, but there's always science to back this stuff up. When you look for it correctly, you'll find it. So it's like, your toenail is like a twin particle for your foot. It sounds weird, but it's true. It's true, and that's why. Why do you think this has been going on since the 1500s, and yet still works, and yet still people are doing it? This article I mentioned, if you want to do further reading, it was just written 6 months ago. This stuff absolutely works. I've done it, and I've had very good success with it. So if you don't want to put urine in it, I understand, because it's really weird to pee in a bottle full of nails. I totally get you. You don't have to do that. But put in a fingernail or a clipping or a scab or a piece of hair. I mean, like they said, navel fluff. I mean, just something. Because that you have to have a sympathetic energy to your physical body. It's a placeholder. It's a dummy, right? So when someone sends it to you, because of your magic, it will reflect immediately to that bottle, and they will think they've made contact with you. Obviously, you don't tell anyone you're making a bottle. Plus, it's a weird thing to bring up anyway in conversation. But then the bottle will take care of it for you, and it'll send it back to the person. And you'll never know the wiser. You'll just be, cool, I feel great, though. Yeah, I did my witch's bottle, buried it, I'm fine. I feel great. So you can fill it with rose essential oil for a level of protection for yourself. That's a symbol of Christ if you're a Christian witch, or any essential oils such as thyme or basil that are meant for protection. You can put holy water in it. You could put wine if you want. To make it a symbol, and you could consecrate it. You could, bless it. Ask God to bless it for you. Ask your higher self to put your energy and essence in the wine as if it's urine. If you want to do the whole thing, you could do white wine with a couple drops of red wine to symbolize blood. I mean, symbolizes Jesus' blood. Why not yours? We're all brothers and sisters, right? So, not in a weird way. That sounded weird maybe, but according to Jesus anyway, we're all brothers and sisters, and God is our Father in his idea of it. So, we're all related to that. So, okay, so hair strands. Yeah, that's all you need to do. You do wine and hair, clean out your belly button. Why not? Throw everything in there. Navel fuzz. What does that even mean, navel fuzz? That's weird. So, basically, all of this creates an air of magic around this thing, okay? When you fill it up to the top, then you put the lid safely on tightly, and then you seal it with black candle wax. Black, again, it deflects negativity and evil and bad thoughts. It just is a purification. It is related to the night sky. Working under the cloak of night is complete and total protection from the mother God. Okay. It's also because witches were persecuted for so many years. You got to do things at night. Just like beavers build their dams at night because their pelts are so prized. They were working during the day, but over, decades of being, hunted and trapped and killed for their fur, beavers adapted, and then they start working at night. Well, no different with witches. There's a lot of jokes there. I'm not going to go there, but all right. So you seal with black candle wax. If you don't have black candle wax, are you lost? No. Hope is not lost. Just use white. Just use a white candle. That's okay. If it's an off-white candle, that's okay. Goddess understands. The God understands. You are creating your own magic. You don't have to do it identical to how other people do it. This is you. You're powerful in and of yourself. So don't worry about that. So if you want to, after the waxes, you could put over the wax, you could put cloth and put more wax. You could put on the cloth, you could put symbols. You could draw things. You can, get really elaborate with it, but you don't have to. You can press symbols with a pen or needle into the candle wax. You could put symbols, words, They could be, again, in another language. You could put in 4 or 5 different languages. You could just put symbols. Whatever you think you need for your own protection, make it unique, make it your own, because that puts your own energy into it more. Make it a piece of art if you want. You're never going to see it again, but make it a piece of art if you want. So all of this is just meant for extra protection. Now, what do you do with it when you're done? You hide it. Some schools of thought, according to this article, says you have to hide it in your house where no one can find it or see it, such as under a floorboard, underneath a staircase. And what's really funny and weird is because we do have hereditary magic very strong in our family, but I only discovered it in 2019. Very weird. When my kids were little, I taught them how to make their own witches' bottles because I noticed that there was a lot of magical stuff flying around us when they were very little. I'm like, ooh, they're magical. We need to get this taken care of. I taught them how to make witches' bottles, and I took them to the river to bury them next to the riverbank. And they loved it. They're like, wow, this is cool. We feel powerful. I loved empowering my kids, telling them that they're magic, because they are. I feel like all children should learn this, but that's just me. But I told them, and my little boy, he was, I think, kindergarten or first grade, and he said, okay, we were getting them ready over the course of a week. Okay, we're going to put the nails in, the glass. Mommy will do the glass. You don't touch the glass. And I told them what everything is for inside. We're going to put a piece of our hair. Don't cut your hair. I mean, you can pull out an eyelash or just very gently. Or if your hair falls out onto your pillow or when you brush your hair, take it from your hairbrush. Don't ever pull it from your, so I taught them the safe way of doing everything. And so my little boy had said, well, what's the next step, Mom? Like, well, we're going to fill it up with pee. And he's like, ew, It's like, all right, I'll get into that. All right. I'm like, well, we're not going to do it now, though. All right, we're going to do it the day we bury it because that will make it more powerful. And he's like, okay. Well, he couldn't wait. And so he filled it with pee, put the lid on, put it behind the toilet where no one can see it, which is like super clever. And I was like, whoa. Why would he know how to hide it? Why would he know? It's like genetic memory. And especially looking back now, I'm after I read this article, you can hide it in your house. I went, oh, that means our ancestors hid that in their house, at least from one, if not more than one of our family lines. I know from his father's side, his grandmother, she was Druid in a past life. And I know because I was a Druid with her. I mean, our families have been around each other a lot. He's one of my main soulmates. And so we were always, circulating around each other. But I think I'm like, how did my kid know how to hide it like that? I mean, it's just an instinct. It's a genetic memory. It's in us. It's powerful. So, I mean, my husband's like, what the hell is this? Like, oh yeah, I'm teaching magic to the kids. So, and he knows his mom does magic. He's done magic, but he was just like so freaked out. I'm like, yeah, that's, hey, I didn't tell you to do that yet. Okay, fine. But I'm glad that my kids were so enthusiastic. That was so great because it made them feel so powerful. I also taught them the law of attraction, and the stuff that they attracted was incredible. Like unbelievable. When my kid, when he was very little, like 3 years old, he said, I want to ride a motorcycle and I want it to be red. And I'm like, all right, when you're an adult, I'm not going to be happy about it, but you can ride a motorcycle that's red. And he's like, no, I'm going to do it before. I'm going to make it happen. You told me I can do anything with my mind. I'm going to make it happen. All right. If you have the opportunity to ride a red motorcycle, and even though I teach the law of attraction and believe in it, I was just like, oh, it might not happen. Within 6 months, the empty house next door, this couple moved in, and guess what they had? They had a red motorcycle, and he would give my little son rides up and down the street. And he came home, Mom, I rode in a motorcycle. It was a red motorcycle. It was so exciting. I go, remember what you were trying to do a few months ago? And he went, oh my God. And he looked into my eyes and he said, I am a powerful spiritual being, aren't I? I go, yes, you are. And he's like, I made that happen with my mind. I'm magic. I'm like, yes, you are. So, I don't know. I mean, out of the mouths of babes, right? I mean, kids believe it more than we believe it as adults. And it's pretty powerful, pretty special stuff. My kids taught me more than I've taught them for sure. So, but you do want to hide it. Now, if you don't want it in your house, I don't like to have it in my house. But you could, so if anyone sends negativity or magic towards your house or anything negative, instead of hitting you, it's going to go directly to the bottle. So you put it in a place that's out of the way, that you're not going to touch it, you're not going to deal with it. So you could hide it in a cupboard that you never use for anything else. Under a kitchen sink, under a bathroom sink, behind the toilet is another good place. You could just put maybe put it in a box or something so you don't look at it. And so anytime anyone's going to send negative, you could put it in your house. There's two schools of thought on this. So you could do it inside your home. Or my preferred method is you go down to a river or a body of water that is near your home, but not very near, so that it will attract all the negativity away from your home. It will go into the earth, and you bury it deep, deep, deep into the earth because you don't want it to break. You don't want it to be disturbed by people or animals. If you want to bury it next to a tree, you ask the tree spirit to protect it. You ask the water spirit to protect it, and you ask all the elements to protect it. You can, if you're really scared, you could put a circle of protection around you before you bury it. Just find a stick, ask the spirits of the wood, don't cut a piece of the tree for that, but just draw a line around you, circle, complete the circle, and ask for protection. Bury it as deep as you possibly can. I mean, no less than 6 to 7 inches down into the ground, where you're piling dirt on top of it, and then put leaves, brush, grass, whatever was there before, put it back on top as if it was, already there. Ask the spirit of the river, the spirit of the lake, pond, whatever, to help you. Ask the deva of the region, which is basically the fairy godmother of all the other fairies in the area. You ask the main one, is the deva, D-E-V-A. Ask her to help. Usually the devas are female energy forms, and they will ask if it's okay, ask for the protection. Usually it's automatically granted. Nature wants to work with you magically. So, that's what I always do. So after you hide it, you bury it, you have your higher guidance involved. You ask the water spirits, the tree spirits, the air spirits, the earth spirits, because you're burying it in the earth. And that's how you ask everyone to help. You can light some incense. I don't recommend lighting candles outside in nature, especially with all the fires that have gone around the world lately. You can if you if you were doing this at the beach or something, but don't ever bury this right in the sand at the beach. Maybe next to a cliff where somebody will never, ever, ever go, but chances are it's going to be discovered. So it's better to do it near a river or a lake or a pond. If you literally have nothing near you like that, A, I feel sorry for you, but B, you could try the house method or bury it just off of your property away from your house. It's okay too. Just as long as no one's ever going to deal with it. And they're never going to dig it up. If it gets broken, the magic is broken. If someone opens it or discovers it, the magic is automatically broken. And after about 1 year, it will lose its effectivity, so you have to do another one. My kids and I, we would do it every year on the new year so that we would have good luck for the new year. We haven't done it in a few years. We'll probably do it this coming year. We might even actually do it on the night before All Hallows Eve and during Samhain, just because that's also a good time to do it. So it depends on what part of the year you're in. This is August, so you have a couple months to do it. Or you could just do it in August. It's fine. You could do it anytime you want. You could do it during a new moon, a full moon, it doesn't matter because it depends on what your intentions are. If someone specifically in your life is meaning harm, just do it today. Do it tomorrow, If it's just in general, just to keep protection. And you can say, I am using this bottle to protect my family. You could do a family bottle where you put just white wine in it, but you do fingernail clippings from everyone in your family or hair all together in a family bottle. Make it a little bit bigger. You could do that. It works very well. Or individuals. My family, we've done combined bottles or individual bottles. It doesn't matter. And they all work. So you bury it. Now, I had a girlfriend. I told her about this. And she and I were witches back in Spain, and we were both burned at the stake. So she was a little nervous about having any kind of her magic leaving her house. She said, what the hell am I going to do? And I go, this is what you're going to do, babe. You're going to get a little hand shovel, and you're going to put the bottle in a brown paper bag that's definitely going to break down. It's not going to harm the environment. And you're just going to not take the bag off. You're just going to wrap it in the plastic, not plastic, never plastic. You just wrap it in the brown paper bag. And that way no one will ever see it. You don't look like a freak. And so she went out to bury hers and she was getting ready to dig a hole. And this guy came up and he's like, what are you doing there? What do you have in your hand? What are you doing? And she goes, oh, it's my pet hamster, God rest his soul. I'm burying him under his favorite tree overlooking the ocean. And she's like on a cliff overlooking the ocean. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And she's like, yeah. So I was going to just do a little ceremony to honor his little life. And he's like, oh, all right. And she's like, do you want to see him? And she went to open the bag. And he's like, no. I'm going to go now. I'm going to go. And he left. She's like, what if you wanted to see him? Like, that would have been so bad. It freaked him out enough to leave. I'll never forget that. It was hilarious. Because it kind of looks a little weird when you bring a giant shovel to like a river, right? So you do a little gardening thing. Bring a little tiny handheld, like at the Dollar Tree. You could get one of these if you live in the U.S. or any gardening center or cheap store. You could just go get a little handheld shovel. I mean, worst case scenario, bring a giant spoon with you, like a metal spoon. But you can use sticks or rocks, when you get there. It's, I recommend just doing a little hand spade. But, and you can put that in a bag too, or put in your backpack. What's in your backpack? Oh, I just got some school books, And no one's going to really question that, especially if you look clean cut, If you're dressing like Stevie Nicks in her videos, maybe people would stop you. But if you just dress normal, you don't have to wear anything, witchy in particular. But I never did. I just wore jeans and t-shirt and combat boots and just go on down to the river. But when you bury this, you have to put your intentions into it. Call upon the spirits. You could call upon the ancestors to help you be protected. Please protect my career. Please protect my love life. Please protect my relationship. Please protect me from any negativity coming my way while I'm trying to find love. Please protect me in my friendships. Please protect me while I'm driving in my car. Please protect me from impurities in my food. Please protect me from illness for the next year. Please protect my mind so I'm always sharp. Please protect my body so I'm always healthy. Please protect my aura so I get no spirit attachments, that I remain clear and pure. Please protect my integrity so that I always remain intact with my integrity and that I always am fair with others. And please send back to anyone who does not mean ill intention, but their words, their actions, their deeds can actually harm me or their thoughts can harm me. Send it and reflect it back to them so they understand what they're doing. If somebody lies against me, slanders against me, purposely does voodoo against me, purposely does magic on purpose to hurt me, 1,000-fold send it back on them. That I never feel it, but they do. Send it back on them. I've seen this work in my life where someone was doing voodoo. She had some of my hair. I was in her house and she's doing voodoo against me. And I did a witch's bottle. And while I was walking to bury it, walking to the place where I was going to bury it near the river, a car almost slammed into me. A white Bronco almost slammed into me right when I got out of my car. It came out of nowhere. And I was like, whoa. See, she knew on some level that I was getting ready. And she had put in a spell that would harm me or even kill me or scare me if I tried to do protections against her. Clever, right? This is not going to be your case most likely. Probably 9 times out of 10, none of this is going on in your life. But I had a stranger come up to me and say, somebody is doing this to you. And he told me who. I'm not going to mention it on the show. And then another friend of mine who knew her as well, he had spent the night in her house. And he said, I heard her saying weird words. I found some weird stuff in her house. And then my children had also been over there and saw the voodoo doll with my hair on it. And there's been many times where I felt pins and needles being stuck into me at night when I'm asleep. I'll wake up going, oh my God, sharp shooting pain like a needle. And so I had to do this. I had to do this bottle. And it worked. But I mean, I got done burying it and I got almost run off the road again by a white Bronco. And then in a different part of town, like an hour later, 3rd time's the charm. I knew it. I knew this person tried to run me off the highway 3 times. And it wasn't the same person. It wasn't the same Bronco. It was different years, but it was always a white Bronco. I'm all, I don't know what that means really, but that's weird. That is the make and model of the car. It was just different, 3 different years, different people, different roads. So I knew my magic is powerful because it sparked a counter magic, like immediately. But you just ask for protection and then you let it go. Cover yourself with sage smoke or incense. And when you walk away, be rest assured that your witch's bottle is going to help you. And your family, if you do a family bottle or, if you bury it with your children, show your children the whole thing. Bury the bottles, together in 3 separate holes. Not in one hole because, that would, if someone steps on it, it will give way and it'll break the bottle. But if you go down far enough, nothing's going to happen. And don't put it on a walkway. Don't put it in a walk path. And make sure that the natural surroundings look just as natural as they did before you actually were there, basically. You could put a couple big stones on top of where that is because no one's going to stand on like a little pile of rocks, right? And that does help. Anyway, if there's an earthquake in the area or it's been a year, do another one. Just every year. Pick a day, do it every year. Now, if you feel that it's broken, like suddenly you're getting a streak of bad luck, suddenly you're having bad thoughts and a lot of negativity out of nowhere is coming your way, do a cleanse, do all that stuff. But if it keeps on going, do another one. It's okay. You could do 2, 3, 4 a year if you have to. But in this time of ascension, while we're going through what we're going through, we might need that little bit of sympathetic magic to stop people that think we're crazy or whatever, negative stuff. They're trying to hold us back. You might want to stop their negative intentions. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that, guys. I love each and every one of you. If you have any questions about this, comments, or information, go ahead and send me an email at metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. I will be back tomorrow with all unique and original programming. Tomorrow is our last Tarot Tuesday in the series that I was doing on the Major Arcana. And then I'm going to teach you guys how to read tarot the way I do. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. So signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Peace. Until next time. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.